Hey, Lennox and Parker family, this is Culture Conversations with Christal. And whether you are watching this broadcast on YouTube or you are on our homepage, you're welcome. So come on in, sit down, and have a seat. Now, most of us, being myself, I'm definitely a hopeful romantic, right? I have considered moving or at least dating someone that lived across town or even dating someone that lived out of state. I don't know if I would be willing to date someone that lived out of the country or to move out of the country. But most of us are obsessed with 90 Day Fiance because there are those brave souls that are willing to do just that. Well, today's guest, not only was she willing to date someone out of the country, she actually was willing to make that move. And so we're going to talk to her about what makes one brave enough to leave everything they know and relocate their entire life to another country. And trust me, when you hear which country she moved to, you're definitely going to be like, Christal, I don't know about that. But please help me welcome today's beautiful guest, Corona Callisto. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. Yes.
Okay. Are you enjoying the summer so far?
So far, so good. Honestly, I've got no complaints.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm just going to jump to it. I term myself a hopeful romantic, not a hopeless romantic, because I believe love is powerful, right? I
Yes.
believe that love overcomes anything. I don't know, Corona, if love would overcome me moving from the United States to Iceland.
Why not? Iceland's beautiful.
You know what? I have not been, so I will definitely give you that. And I also kind of picked up on the fact, watching you on 90 Day Fiance, I've kind of picked up on the fact that you are a free spirit. So I love that. I love that fact that you're like, why not? But I am wondering, the idea of doing something new for a while is great, but actually relocating and not having any support, that could be, was that at all a little bit challenging to you?
So it's definitely scary going into it, but like you mentioned, I am very much so a free spirit and quite nomadic in general. So even in the States, I've lived everywhere.
Okay.
So for me to like pack all my stuff and leave, that's almost second nature to me. It's like, okay, bye, on to the next. But I love Iceland so much, and I actually do have friends that are there. So I do have like a small little support group. I'm not totally alone.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Let's rewind back a little bit, because the idea of Iceland, and I guess I'm not going to lie, Corinne, I'm be honest with you. Some of it is because I just don't think the brand of Iceland says that there are very many people of color there. And that is scary, right? So,
Yeah.
right. I grew up in Oklahoma. I know you were born in Dallas. And so there are pockets in Oklahoma and probably pockets, well, in Tulsa where I was raised, and probably pockets in Dallas where you could, be a minority at times. However, being in a country where I don't really have anyone that looks like me, I would feel a little bit, at least a little, it would be a little challenging. So that's probably the first thing. The second thing is making that jump with someone that I haven't known very long and I'm not necessarily married to. That is the second part. So let's figure out what it is about Inky that made you so willing to make this jump. You guys met at a party.
Yes, we met at like an after party. So parties after like the parties have long stopped.
Yeah.
But he was such a gentleman, and like I know people think like who takes a nap on someone's bed? Like that's crazy. But I felt safe to do that. And I think that said a lot, that I felt safe and comfortable enough to actually like take a nap there. He was very welcoming and very warm.
Okay, welcoming and warm. I got that. Okay. Obviously, you had to be attracted. Were you attracted to him? Did you guys have a good conversation? What are the things that are standing out in your head about him at that first meeting that made you interested in getting to know him better and taking that nap?
So it was definitely not love at first sight. For sure not. I think my very first thought was like, ugh, like step aside. I don't even want to be here. Like I'm tired. Just move. But just slowly talking to him and like understanding like how he is with his friends, how close he is with his friends. And he has some really awesome friends. Mm-hmm. And if someone can have such a good social circle, like they also have to be good too, And it helps that he's really tall.
Okay. So that's an attract. You're obviously attracted to that, and you wear very high shoes, so that probably helps, right?
I'm a solid 6 foot in my shoes, so I need my man to be 6 foot and up at
Okay.
least.
Okay, he got that. He's very tall, and he does seem to have, from what we've seen, and I know there's more that we haven't seen, but we've seen his group of friends. Now, his group of friends kind of feel like me. They're like, okay, guys, what is going on? Are you ready for this? Question: were you more excited about the option of just moving to Iceland and it being this new adventure, or is it really this relationship that you feel like you're in love with Inky and want to actually be with him?
I definitely think the relationship was more so the factor in why I wanted to move.
Okay.
I would have moved anywhere for him. We could have been in
That's what I wanted.
Cuba, like
Okay.
wherever, France, England. Like honestly, like Iceland just so happened to be where he was, so that's where we're going. But it could have been anywhere.
Oh, okay. All right. So tell us more about this, about falling in love with him, because you're a lot more expressive on camera and in your, in your interviews and your confessions. And we get a little bit more of your personality than we get from him. Can you tell us a little bit about this process of you guys falling in love to where you were like, okay, I'm willing to leave Philly and my friend circle and my, I'm assuming what you do online, you could probably, it's like a kind of like a doula or someone that kind of assists people with their birthing journey. You could probably,
People have babies all over the world, so
right.
I'm gonna have a job no matter where I am.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm like, okay, so her job goes where she goes, and you probably can still have patients, in the United States because you're online. Most of it is virtual, but it's still just like your comfort of in your family, even though your family's not there in Philly, they are in Dallas. And a flight from Philly to Dallas is probably a lot cheaper and easier to secure than a flight from Iceland to Dallas. So tell us about falling in love with Inky and what made him different to where you'd say, I'll move anywhere for you.
It's hard to even say. Like, love makes you a little delusional and like
Very much.
blind, doesn't it?
Very
So
so.
just like he could do no wrong in my eyes, honestly.
Okay.
Um,
Is he your normal type?
no, not at all, which is weird for me. Definitely not my normal type. My normal type is probably beefier, covered in tattoos, maybe looks like they've probably been to jail, but I'm trying to do something different, because obviously that wasn't working for me. So
the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So you're not insane.
Maybe I am, but not for this.
Okay. So what about him? Because again, I would think my first thing, if it was my cousin or my girlfriend, I'm like, are you sure you would want to move that far without being married? So how do you see a future with Inky? Was that something that you believe is locked in order for you to make that move? You see yourself living there, you see you guys traveling together, because he doesn't seem quite as nomadic as you are.
He's lived outside of Iceland before. He has lived in Sweden, so he has done a little bit of travel, but definitely nowhere near as much as me. But I will say, what you see on camera isn't necessarily what I get behind closed doors. Right. So it's definitely more reassuring on my end than he's portraying.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Okay. Well, I need you to give us a little something for that, because I still need a little more Corona, because I see you, I hear you, but I don't think the viewers have really gotten a chance to see you guys love, and that could be coming, but hopefully you'll give us a sneak peek into what it is about him that makes you feel so secure enough to take that initial nap, and then secure enough to uproot and leave everything that you know and settle into a whole new world. Like, give us just the maybe a few examples of conversations and things about him that make you feel this type of comfort.
Ooh, you put me on the spot. No, it's hard for me to say like specific examples. It's more of just like a feeling. When we do have conversations, he's really like understanding. And he seems to want to learn and to grow, and he's very inexperienced. I am his first serious relationship, but seems like he wants to learn.
Was that troubling for you at all? Because I'm not gonna lie, Corona, I was high-fiving your family when they were like, what is he like? He hasn't been in a relationship. The first relationship, the young lady moves across the country. That could put a lot of pressure. And again, I'm on your side because I'm a hopeful.
Now, my family might have been onto something.
Hindsight is always 2020. And families, for some reason, the wisdom is there because you can't see when you're in in the thick of it.
Especially my grandma. She's lived a life. She knows. She knows things.
I believe she does. She's a sweetheart, at least from what we see. Tell me about watching this back on television. How does this feel? I always wonder for especially 90 Day Fiance, because these situations, a lot of your castmates are really struggling with their, at least from where we are in the show, are really having some drawbacks to being in different places, right? So we see Tata was just really unhappy here in the United States and then wanted to go back. Just there's always a bit of an obstacle to get over when you're trying to kind of get normalized in another place. But what is it like watching the show and seeing yourself go through these things in an edited version, knowing what the entire version was like?
Honestly, when I sit down and watch the show, I'm watching it just like you guys. I'm like, what did I say this week? Like, what's happening? I don't know. So it's exciting every week. It's like, well, I said that. Yeah. It's hard to not read the comments. I think that's my hardest struggle. Because obviously, like, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I fully understand that. But some people are very, like, just mean. It's like, dang.
Yeah. Yeah. People can be mean, especially from behind their computers and their phones, right? It's a lot easier to be mean to someone. I like you a lot because, like I said, I feel like you're very outgoing. I feel like you are a woman who is not afraid to try something new. And I think a lot of people can learn from that, because I think when you stay stuck in your own, normalcy in your own bubble, you don't learn as much. And so what advice would you give to someone that would love to be as brave as you, but may not have, just doesn't see themselves being able to take that big step?
I think we truly only have one life that we know of, at least, and you have to make the most of it. So, when you're 90 years old, are you going to regret the things that you did or regret the things that you didn't do? And I've had the pleasure of talking to a lot of 90-year-olds, and they regret the things they didn't do. So for me, it's like, I know when I'm 90, I'm not going to have those regrets. I may be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, but I learned and I lived.
Right.
And I think, even if you stumble and it doesn't work out, at least you tried.
Right.
And you can, at the end of the day, you know that you put in that effort.
Yeah. And you didn't die. Like they said, did you die though?
Did you die though? No.
You
so I'm going to keep taking big risks. I'm only 30, so I'm sure I've got many more big leaps and jumps to come.
Yeah. Well, you are preaching to me. My daughter, she wants to move. I live in Atlanta. She wants to move to California, and I do not want her to go, but I do want her. I love that adventurous spirit and that independence that you have. And I think that a lot of women would benefit from that, because we do only have one life. And while you are, in charge of that life, you should definitely live it to the fullest. What made you decide to take the risk of being on reality TV and sharing this journey of yours with the public?
Quite honestly, I did not think that we were going to get picked for the show. I was like, there's no way. We're just like a little cute couple. They're not going to want us. We don't have enough drama or whatever. That's what I was thinking. But it's like, oh, crap. We didn't get picked. Okay, fun. Like, and it's another one of those, like, are we going to regret not doing it if we don't? So, like, we might as well.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine you thinking you would not get picked. You are quite an interesting young lady. Even in your pets, your cats are like the hairless.
My skin bees.
Your skin bees. Can you tell us how? I'm an animal lover, but those cats are a little different. Tell us about how you fell in love with your skin bees.
So I've always wanted a hairless cat. Since I found out they exist, I like the obscure things, as you can tell maybe by my wardrobe and personality. I like the things that are a little bit different. And they're my COVID kitties. I got them in 2020. I was supposed to go on this big month-long Europe tour, but couldn't do that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a couple cats. So I got 2 hairless cats. And now they're my children and I love them so much.
Yes. And they are coming to Iceland with you.
Yes.
I'm a little concerned because they're going to be really, I see that you put clothes on them, and I do that with my dog, but they're going to be pretty cold over there.
They stay inside and there's heat inside.
Okay.
They're not outside kitties.
I think Iceland just sounds like everything is cold. Like even a trip to the mailbox sounds like.
Oh, it's quite cold.
Yeah.
Quite cold.
It's quite cold. Okay. All right. Well, let me know about just the show. Like what made you try out for the show? Because I feel like deep down you knew that you had to have a chance just because of what a colorful person you are. But what was it about the show that attracted you? Were there other couples that have been on 90 Day Fiancé that you liked their journey, or you were attracted to the show because of their love story?
Yeah, there's definitely been a few couples that have like pulled at my heartstrings a bit, like Alexi and Lauren. I love them. I think they're so cute. Yeah. Kenny and Armando. It's like, I love. And like you said, you're a hopeful romantic. I'm a hopeless romantic. Like I'm laying it all out and I don't know, like see what happens.
Yeah.
So I love the stories that show genuine love stories. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the drama. I mean, come on, the drama is just so good.
Well, you're in the drama now, or at least we're going to see some more. We are going to see some more. Like I said, I love watching you because I think you are a very expressive person. My hope, Corona, is that you're going to go to Iceland, and we're about to see. We see when you get there that Inky. I'm not surprised that he did not have the most romantic reception, because he doesn't come across as someone that's really well versed in the areas of romance. But we're going to see. But hopefully, I think best case scenario, your outgoingness and colorfulness and his stability will kind of mesh to where you guys are a balance for each other. And hopefully you both can make the trip, because your family is so sweet. And I want you to be able to visit them as well. They are very concerned, as am I.
Yeah, yes. Yes. I don't think that's the last you guys will see of my parents. So
well, before we let you go, is there any advice that you would give to someone? Like I said, I was asking about advice for someone that may want to travel, but when it comes to love and putting yourself on the line, what have you learned just from this experience up until now?
I think in just my entire love life in general, I've learned that even when you get like hurt and you're heartbroken, to learn those lessons, but don't carry it on to the next relationship. Because if I carried all it on, I would have no hope for love. I've been heartbroken to the max in the past, but I still am like optimistic, and I still think that like I'm deserving of love and I have love to give. So I'm going to keep going out there to get it. So I think my biggest advice to people is don't give up.
I love that. Well, I love it. I'm high-fiving you from across the, yes, from across the waters. I'm here in Atlanta, but I love that. And I think that's what makes me like your character so well. Who you are so much is that optimism. And I think that's definitely needed if you ever want to be successful in love or in life. And so we wish you well. Please come back and share with us later in the season. You have to keep us posted, because I have some suspicions, but we'll talk. We'll have another conversation later on. For now, we're going to thank you so much and let people know where they can tune in to see 90 Day Fiancé.
Yeah, so tune in, 90 Day Fiancé the other way. It's on Mondays, 8/7 Central on TLC and HBO Max.
Absolutely. And do you have an Instagram that we can follow, or social?
Yeah, my Instagram's Corona_supernova.
Of course. It's very cool. I actually represent TLC, so Supernova, I just like you even more. Because
yay.
Left Eye's album, one of her albums was titled Supernova. But
exactly.
Yes, thank you so much. We're rooting for you, Corona. We're rooting for you and Inky. Most importantly, we're just rooting for you to have the desires of your heart, and definitely want to see more from the Skin Beast as well. We're going to stay tuned in. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, there you guys go. We had a great conversation with Corona. I absolutely love what she said about love. I think you have to be willing, all of us that have attempted to find love or want to be in love, you have to put yourself out there. Great advice from a bright and very wise 30-year-old dropping gems here on Culture Conversations. Make sure that you tune in to 90 Day Fiance the other way, so you can see what happens with Corona and Inky and all the other couples that are trying to find love amidst the geographical divide. Love it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us, and we'll see you next time right here on Culture Conversations with Christal.